We've got a seat waiting for you in the Delmarva Life audience. Be a part of the fun in historic Studio D. Book your seat by visiting delmarvalife.com and clicking on the show tab, or give us a call, 443-880-9116. This year, The Young and the Restless has been on the air for 40 years, an icon in the world of daytime dramas.
And many of us grew up watching the show or remember our parents tuning in religiously. Well, in the midst of all of that, have you ever stopped and wondered what it would be like to be on a soap, let alone do love scenes or remember all those lines? We sent Brian to the set of the show in Los Angeles to find out what it really is like.
I'm not doing this here like this.
Now you are doing this here, and you're doing it just like this.
Whatever happens, just remember, now is your chance to tell them exactly how you feel.
Let's be real for a moment. When we turn on a soap like Young and the Restless, many of us know what's playing out on the screen is not exactly real life, especially those moments that are so over the top.
It doesn't have anything to do with me, and it's never going to have anything to do with me!
So why do we get hooked and so wrapped up in the characters and the various plot lines? The truth is, the actors sell us on it. They make us believe it's real. After all, that's their job, and what a job it is.
If I had to use one word to sum it up, I would say tornado. That's just about what I was thrust into, and I'm still spinning about.
You probably recognize this guy here. He plays the charming yet shady Adam Newman on the show.
Come on, Chelsea. If you're so over us, then why wouldn't you have told me about this?
His real name is Michael Muni, and he's been with Young and the Restless since 2009. And speaking of male characters, there's also this familiar face, Peter Bergman, who plays Jack Abbott.
I can handle Adam. I appreciate your concern.
He's been on the show since 1989, but started on another well-known soap long before that.
When I got the All My Children gig, I was sure I could make it last for 6 months. It lasted for 10 years, and this job came right out of that.
A major part of having this job, remembering your lines, especially for Muni and Bergman, who are part of many scenes on the show. So how do they do it?
You know, I have been doing this for a long time, so you exercise that part of your brain a bit. I can't remember numbers at all, but I can remember words. And when you play a character a long time, the lines are a natural reaction for the character or an unnatural reaction for the character. So they are easier to learn, but frankly, it's the only thing I have to do. I have to show up on time and know my lines. I don't even have to look good. They make me look good. They fix me up and dress me and everything. So all I have to do is learn my lines. That doesn't seem a lot to ask.
There's a hefty amount of dialogue to have to memorize, and the only way to do it is to constantly keep up on it. I'm in a constant state of reading scripts, in a constant state of memorizing. There's never really a day that goes by without me reading 1 or 2 scripts and memorizing 15, 20, 30, 40 pages of dialogue any given day. I mean, I've got weekends where I try and shut my brain down shortly, but temporarily. But it's a hell of a feat.
Then there are those emotional moments that we have all seen. How does one get angry or cue the waterworks at that critical moment?
The art of it is to shut all of it out, and when the camera rolls, time slows down, and you can give an inspired performance because you have that ultimate focus.
For me, whenever I have to come up with emotion, that isn't a big challenge for me. I'm kind of an emotional person anyway. When I have to suddenly come up with tears, say we ended with Jack in an emotional state, and the next scene starts with him in an emotional state, the fastest way for me to get tears is think about happy things. They bring tears like that. Sad things, not so fast.
Finally, you can't have a daytime drama without those love scenes. Every episode seems to start or end with one. And while it looks like passion and true love in the throes of it all, behind the scenes, it's a different story.
Not to sort of pull the curtain back and burst the bubble for people, but it's probably the least exciting thing to do for an actor on a set. You know, there's 40, 50 guys in a freezing cold soundstage with a million lights over you and the microphones, and it's never as intimate as anyone thinks. And the same with movies and whatever. I mean, it's never intimate like that, and it's very technical, and You know, I have big hands and women have small faces, and if I put my hand in the, oh, you're covering her too much, we could do this, and you hand on the neck and make sure you brush her hair back.
Love scenes aren't quite what they're made out to be. Yeah, you know, it's fun kissing girls for free, but we have a giant crew here who, you know, many of them come nowhere near sets until girls are scantily clad. So suddenly we have a much larger audience all around the bed, and if I raise my shoulder, I put a shadow on her face. If I do this, it's a funny shadow thing on her ear, and it's stuff like that that's in your mind half the time. The rehearsal is fun, but no, the taping is anything but sexy.
But in the end, they make it look so easy. Like I said earlier, it's their job, and they do it well.
Love Peter Bergman. Now, those weren't the only soap stars Brian spoke with in Los Angeles. He also interviewed Melody Thomas Scott, who has been playing Nikki on the show for 34 years. Now, she and Brian actually shot a small scene together for Delmarva Life. Apparently, the goal was to make Brian cry on cue. Did it work? Oh, you definitely want to tune in tomorrow to find out.
Tomorrow, okay.
Yes.
Well, from one hit show to another, up next, the cast of Mike and Molly gives us an early look at tonight's season finale.
But first, here's a look at what's coming up in the news on First at 5 on Fox 21 and later on WBOC News at 6.